Welcome everyone to another Discord class. My name is Goro Fujita, and today I want to cover different approaches on how to create characters or environments and stuff like that. I probably want to do some Halloween themed stuff, so if you have ideas for characters and stuff like that, please let me know. I'm just going to create like an environment first and then create some characters to put into the environment. So there was questions from the community on like when to use Lathe, when to, when to use the, when you basically questions about like when do you use Lathe techniques, when do you use like the line brush to create stuff. And just giving an overview of like the best practices. Like for example, for the ground here, this is like same which will apply to the lathe that I'm going to show later. But basically, I use multiple strokes if I want texture on the ground, right? Because I could also do this like this, right? And it looks like kind of the same, but if I turn off the wireframe here and if I colorize, the problem with Quill is like it's stroke based, right? So you can't really add texture. However, here you get like this beautiful texture, right? So this is like a way to get a really nice effect and colorizing effect into your painting. The only thing is like this is pretty dense, right? So you can always use the optimization tool, set it to max. I just hit my monitor, nice. And you can just remove this. If you remove it here, it gets like really tricky because like you can't colorize anything anymore, right? It's like a pretty aggressive fall off curve here. So here, because it's like multiple strokes, you actually don't see much of a difference between this and the high resolution model that I had. And so let me just keep going here. And then I might want to create like some wall or something. And for a wall, I wouldn't do this, right? Because unless it's like a cave wall or something. In this case, I might think of, let me try to build like a little piece of rock. I would use the line tool or something like this. And then I'm going to use the same brush, but I will just add something like this, right? So I have like a really cool block of stone here. And then maybe I do something like this. And then I duplicate. And maybe I rotate it so it looks different, right? And then you can do stuff like this. And this is still pretty efficient because I use the line brush for the center, right? So you have something like this. And then for the gaps, you can do like a line brush stroke here. Let me, something like this. And bend it. And the reason I do this is like because it's much more efficient in terms of poly count, right? And it's easy to reduce. And then if you don't like these edges, then you can just go over and make it like more painterly, right? So it disappears into the limbo, just like this. And then here, let me turn off the thing. I can fill in the gaps a little bit more. Something like this. And then I will probably put this on an extra layer just so it's easier to select. Boom. So I selected it, created a new layer, which puts this into a new layer. And then here I can now colorize it. Maybe at the bottom it's a little bit darker. Right? And because I mixed it with strokes, you automatically get like this cool texture. Right? And then let me colorize the ground a little bit. And then I'm going to move into characters right away. This is just like to give an overview of how I think when I start creating stuff, because you have to keep optimization in mind. Now, if you do something like Soda Island, right? If you do something like really elaborate and big way, you actually have to think about memory. you have to be a little bit more careful with how you build stuff. So yeah, I might not want to do this. I might actually take a picture of this and then import it as a PNG or something, you know, because every bit of like polygon counts. Like for those daily paintings that I do, if you do like a shot with like a short film with like 3 shots or something, you'll probably be fine. But just keep in mind that depending on what you want to do, you have to definitely keep an eye on the optimization panel, right? So I'm like at 217,000 polygons right now, but I can decide to like optimize the whole thing. Like let's say I optimize all layers, you will definitely see that stuff gets like broken here. So I maybe want to make it like less, something like this. So I can live with this difference, and then you can see that it just jumped back to 85,000, which is like super small. Right, so this is like this is going to be my set, and then I'm going to create a pumpkin. Since we're close to Halloween now, we call this BG background, and then let me create like the pumpkin. So I might have a fire here, like a blue fire or something like this. So I want to do a lighting effect on the pumpkin. So there's a few things I can do, right? Like I can say like, oh, I want the pumpkin to be like super low res. So I'm gonna do something like, let me pull this timeline out and bring down the tools. So I could just create a new layer and say like, okay, this is going to be my pumpkin. And as you can see with the wireframe, it's basically like a little line stroke, and then I do the leaves here. And you would think like, oh, this is actually pretty cool, right? And let's give him a suit. So let's give him a little suit. So this is like how you could quickly do that with a line tool in the most efficient way possible, right? Make sure you ask questions if you have questions. But let's say this is like this character, and then I have the fire here. Let me create a fire. So maybe 12 frames might be enough. And then we create a little fire. So I'm just created like an empty layer with a bunch of empty frames, and then I'm using the anim brush to animate the fire. And maybe I want to have some color variation in here. Some embers. Okay, and then maybe a little bit more color. This is a pretty cool fire. Might as well do some firewood. So let me quickly do some firewood. And then for stuff like this, I usually use the line tool because it's like much more efficient. And line tool stuff gets easily optimized. So I like to use the line tool for anything I do. So we just do like a little fireplace here and put it in here. You might have seen this technique in my tutorials. And then I'm going to also colorize it a little bit blue. This is good. And then we add 6 frames, maybe 6 frames. So important is I always do make it like divisible. So it's like 12, 6, 24 and stuff like that. Just because if I want to merge it later to reduce draw call count and stuff, it's easy for me to do without destroying anything. All right, so I'm adding a little bit of the glow here, and let me turn off the wireframe and use the other wireframe. So this looks pretty cool. Okay, let me just grab one of those sticks, select all of them, and then move it over. So I have another one. So it's well balanced. So this is going to be my light source, and depending on what I want to do, I actually decide if I want to lathe or not, right? For example, in this case, if I want the pumpkin to be lit by the fire, right, it's really difficult to do because if I now colorize it, see how it colorizes the whole stroke, right? So, but I want only the underside to flicker. Now, what you can do is like you can, of course, duplicate, shift it down a little and make this, but then you get like this sharp edge, which you might want to only have for rim lights and stuff like that. In this case, I might consider using the lathe technique, right? So you can do this either with a flat brush or either with this one. Let me use this one for now. Create a new layer. And I just freehand something like that. Let me turn off the taper. Freehand like a C like this, right? And then I do the lathe technique. I rotate it a little bit and I go around. So what this does is that you can now colorize it smoothly. So let me put it here, right? So now, for example, if you have 12 frames, loop it, then you can colorize this section really smoothly. And you can make it flicker, so it actually looks like it's like lit by the fire, right? So this is like a pretty powerful technique. This is a step though that I would do last. So I would like model or sculpt the character first before doing the lighting. But at this point, I'm already thinking about what am I going to do with my character, right? The lathe technique is also like very useful if you do. Let me delete all the frames here. If you want smooth gradients on the character himself, but also if you want to punch in holes and stuff like that, right? So let me. So yeah, this is the pumpkin in dark light. Maybe it's a little bit more saturated. Bring some color back. The color is too. Something like this. What you can do with the lathe technique is also like you can erase into it. So let me show the wireframe so you can see it. So I can erase into it and create like a mouth here, right? And I can erase into it and create like an eye socket here. And then what you can do is you pick the color here and do something like this. Right. So the cool thing is now it looks like the eyes go in, right? So it's actually a hole now. So that way you can create like an inside of the mouth and stuff like that. And you can do this using Daniel's technique, and Daniel's technique that he showed in his face tutorial is actually the much cleaner way to do this. But this is a faster way to do this, right? So you can do it like really quickly if you want to do like a quick sketch or something. If you want to do a short film, you might want to go with Daniel's technique because that one is much cleaner. But for like if you're like short on time or you don't want to like just do a proof of concept or something, you know, you can do something like this very easily with the lathing technique. So if you do just a moment in time or something, you know, like that you want to capture and share to Oculus Media Studio, that's totally fine to use this technique, even if it's like not polygon efficient, because it's not going to be a full short film. However, if you do a short film, you have to always be careful about the poly count, right? And try to save wherever you can. But you can, for example, have this guy in one shot, and in another shot, you know, like you have a more detailed character that you built like using Daniel's technique, right? So you can merge them too. You don't have to like commit to like one technique, you know, and it really depends on like what you want. I believe Daniel also had like multiple level of details for the main character in the remedy. Is Daniel here? Are you here, Daniel? No, he's not. But you guys are still there, though, right? You guys are just quiet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah. So I think Daniel had like a low res model of her. You know, when you see her from afar, you don't need all these details. So you know, this pumpkin could be useful for me still. You know, if I would put him somewhere here, right? Because I don't need to see the shading and details and stuff like that. So it really depends on what you want to do. So the lathing technique here is really good because this is going to be one of my main characters. So if I want to, you know, fill in the mouth like this, it's gonna be 3-dimensional. So that's the cool thing about using the erase technique and Lathe, because now if you look at it from the side, you actually see that it's going in, right? And maybe I want the inside of the mouth to be glowing. Let's do that. That's going to be awesome. So that looks great. So, and then, you know, you can even add some collaboration in there. Maybe it's like a little bit darker on the sides, something like this. So really make it glow. And I'm gonna create a new layer for this because I'm gonna make it flicker as if there's like fire burning inside the mouth. So I can reuse this for the eyes. Let me go inside the eye. Just close it off, just like this. Close it off, you know. And then I can, you see a little bit, then you see what I erased here, so you can always go in and erase it more. Oops. Yeah, and then you just fill in the gaps after the fact. So these gaps, you can fill them in just with, let me turn on the wireframe so you guys can see. So now I have a pretty decent looking pumpkin that I can also select, right? And deform. So this is another big advantage of using the Lathe technique, is you can deform it really nicely, right? Oh, whoa. So this stuff does not work on this guy, right? You can only stretch the stroke, but you can't stretch in the y-axis, only along the stroke that you created. So so these are the advantages of using Lathe, because you know you can do like some squash and stretch with it easily, you know, and you have like if you have something like this, right? You can usually just use the thick and thin tool to close the gaps and stuff. So it's like pretty versatile technique to do some more complex characters. So let's give him like a body. For the body, I might actually want to use Lathe as well, right? So what I can do is like I just select this guy, duplicate it, and then I go to the opacity jitter and make it like fully opaque again, and I close the gaps. Right, so that way you can bring back the invisible strokes, and then I'm going to colorize it with black, and maybe we add a little bit of gray to it, a little bit darker. So this is going to be the body, and now you see that the body can be stretched like this, right? And then for the legs, I might just use this, like a tapered stroke. Maybe he's making... What do you eat on Halloween? Candy?
Caramel apple?
Caramel apple.
Chocolate, bro.
Caramel apple is good, but caramel apples, are they... You don't put them in flames, right? It's not like marshmallows.
Oh, maybe like a baked apple then.
A baked apple is good. Yeah, let's do that.
Don't you have
Baked
to,
apple.
like, throw sugar in a fire to get caramel?
I mean, you could put it in a pot. I think you put sugar in a pot and then heat it up.
I mean, I'm sure you could like just dump your apple in sugar and then just kind of roast it. That'd probably get the same
And then you
effect,
get free diabetes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make a diabetic pumpkin here. I like the roasted apple idea, so I'm gonna go for this. And you see, for the hands and stuff, I don't worry about like Lathe, you know, because like that's like easy to do with a line brush, and it's easy to select later. For the apple, you know, because it's so small, I probably just use like one brush stroke like this, or duplicate it a little bit, you know, to get some lighting on it, you know. So let's get some blue lighting on it, something like this. But if you want like smooth shading, there's like a technique you can do. You just look at the direction of the strokes, and let's say you want to colorize the bottom, you can do something like this, right? So you need to know how Quill works, and like Daniel was talking about this. So we have like this little cute pumpkin here, and then let me just move it. Yeah. Don't you know my art? I always do cute stuff. Can't do dark stuff.
Also known as a chubby jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah. jack the pumpkin head. And then, you know, like I can just use what I have. Let me see if I can use what I have. So you get like these segmentations, which will show as spaghetti if you render it, you know. But maybe I can reuse some of this, take this and use it to my advantage. And I think this needs to be actually blue. So I'm going to, let me see if I can multiply it. Oops. Yeah, that works.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then I'm just gonna do, I'm just gonna clean up the strokes. I just gonna draw over these weird colorization intersections, you know. Something like this. And then maybe he has a bow tie.
Fancy.
There we go. Oh, look at him.
Cute.
Okay. This is good, and then this is where I would basically. What happened to his head? Let me fix his head. I think I accidentally multiplied the head as well. Oops. Okay, there we go. Fix it. Oh, I selected the inner side too. I have to make sure I'm only selecting the outside, so I go to only select the skin and then colorize it. There we go. And then we can get a little bit darker on the top, maybe a little bit cooler on the top too. Let's do this. And then he has like a strong light from the front. I think that's better. Okay, so we have the pumpkin. Any other character ideas? Because, oh, I wanted to show multiple approaches. So let me work on a witch, actually. Maybe that's good. So this is like the volumetric approach, right? Where I would not, I would basically not draw. I would just go straight into volumes and paint that, right? So this is like how I would do this. Let me save at this point and then go and create a witch. So, witch. So for the witch, for example, I want to start with a line drawing first. So this would be the line drawing approach. Daniel is much better at that than I am. So there's like a few things you can do, right? So you can either like draw like the character in space, something like this. Maybe duplicate it over, and then it's like the witch has like this crazy big nose. And then let's do this. Duplicate this over. Now, I'm actually trying to draw flat. I'm failing at drawing flat. Like I can't do this no more. So let me draw flat. So you guys might not see it because you guys see it flat right now. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to draw flat, right? So I'm doing like a design here. You know, maybe shit. Oh, this is so weird. My hand is like trying to go into space. It's like a new type of problem. So let's say like this is like a phase, right? What you can do, like if you come from 2D, you might feel more comfortable to do this first. And this is like not even 2.5D. It is like literally 2D, right? And what you can do is like, for example, use the grab tool now. Select only the facial features and bulge it out, right? And then you move the strokes into space. Maybe the eyes go in a little, the ears go like this. And then you create like kind of like already like a 2.5D or 3D character, right? So you can now see the outline here, you know, and maybe the chin now goes like this way. And you can start seeing that it's just becoming 2D to 3D, right? So then you, oops, let me select it all, move it up so you guys can see it. And then obviously this would become more something like this, right? And you can use the grab tool to really make it 3D. And because I moved it in space, just in space in Z forward, right? Like it will still work from the front, it will still look the same. Right, so for example, this one, I might put the pivot here and rotate it over, duplicate it and rotate it like this, right? And this is how you can create like a 3D character pretty quickly. And then you can go in and start doing the Daniel technique to build the face, you know, by following like those lines, like, you know, doing this kind of stuff where you start like building the face out of it, right? And then you create it with patches and stuff like that. I'm not gonna do this for her now because this is taking too long and we only have limited time, but this is how you could do stuff, right? And then you get like the exact shape you want. So another technique, once you are more comfortable with the 3D space, what I tend to do is I just draw in 3D directly, right? So I have like the eyes here, I have the nose here, you know, and then if you look, it's pretty accurate already, right? So I can just put the ear here, and to you, it might look like I'm drawing in 2D right now, but it is actually 3-dimensional, see? And this is like a skill set that is acquired. Like after a while, you're able to, like when you do that for like a year or two, you know, and like you really start understanding space, and you will be able to even do line drawings in space, you know, and be pretty accurate about it. So you can do stuff like this here. But my approach for this stuff, if I want to do a witch, I come from traditional painting. And for me, I think in volumes. So volumes are much easier for me to think about. So what I usually do for stuff like this is I use like a brighter color, and then I start like blocking in the shapes first. So, okay, so this is going to be the chin, and this is going to be the nose. And see how much faster I am by using this technique, right? And then I'm just like, I'm sculpting the character. Right, so let me turn on the wireframe so you guys can see better. But I do stuff like this. So this is actually the approach I'm doing my Inktober's with. Right, so let me draw this ear. I want it asymmetrical actually. So, and then I can already see the volumes perfectly. So this is like how I like to work. So for example, you know, for the hat, I might do something like this. Let me do something like this. Something like this. And then let me do something like this. No questions so far? Guess not. But let me know if you do. So let me see. So you know what? Because I want to put a wave into the head, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably do something like this. So here I use the lathe technique. So I use the left index finger to hold the left index finger to snap the stroke, and then I create a stroke. So this is perpendicular, parallel to the ground actually. Then I rotate it, and then I do the lathe technique with snap a few times, and then I just do fill in the gaps. Boom. So now what I can do with this, I can actually bend it, right? So this is really good. And then I can put it here. This looks pretty nice. All right.
That's cool.
So now I see, you know, like I already see kind of the general shape of it. So I see that it's like I want probably something like this. Let me push this in a little. Make it more flat, something like this. So I don't see it. And then, you know, like if I turn off the wireframe, it will look like a white blob here. But I'm not too worried about that now because I can bring her back with like the lines easily. But this is like how I like to work. So this is maybe her collar. Let's put her here. So if I want like a coat or something, right? So what I can do is like, this is her body. So I will fill it in with like a big blob first. And then she has like the arms here. For the arms, let me see. Maybe I will do the inside of the arms first, like her real arms. And then fingers. Oops. 1, 2, 3. And then I just duplicate it a few times. She has 4 fingers. Disney style. Let's give her 5. Let's be accurate. Okay, so we have this. And then either you can give her clothes, and for example, for this, I might want to use Lathe again. So maybe I will use this brush now. I will use the snap to grid again, and then I might rotate it over like this. Let's rotate it just like this. And then I duplicate, let me see. Yeah, I duplicate it and rotate it over like this, so it's even. And then, let me see. Let's see how this works. Duplicate. I'm just thinking right now what the best method is. Maybe you delete this, and maybe I will thicken thin it a little bit, and then I give her the cloak.
Oh, cool.
Right. So maybe this will be on an extra layer actually, so I can separate them. And then you can always either grab tool it and make it smaller here. I'm just grabbing it and making the brush smaller, so you can taper it like this. Right? Maybe you want to open it like this again, something like this. Might look pretty cool. Let's see how this goes. So here I would use Lathe too, because now I can do stuff like this in the wind, right? If I wanted to, it's like, wow, right? So, and you can like bulge it out, or you can put like a nice arc in the back, you know, something like this. And then if you have this stuff, you can either thicken it, get rid of it, you know, or you can paint over this. But this looks like a pretty cool silhouette already. So let me just keep going with that. But once I have this, I start a line drawing layer. And this is like when I do my Inktober, right? It's like, it's really quick this way. And maybe I will do like an eye here. Oops. Let me see what this looks like. She's kind of pissed off. So, oops. It's funny. Then move it over here. But this is like when I start like thinking about, okay, like the lines, right? So I can turn on this faint wireframe, and then I can do the lines like this. Oh, these are actually the eyebrows. So I want to put this in a little bit more. And then I can, you know, use the geometry that I laid in as a reference, basically, to work on the lines, right? So those are her eyebrows. Maybe she has like a little wart here or something like this. And we have the nostrils. And then I might like add a little like outlines here. And she will be smiling. And then let's bring the smile up. So I used like a combination of just hand-drawn lines with the grab tool. Maybe she has some dark eye rings. And let me just move this over. I can just paint it again. And paint it again. Bring this eye over. Okay, it's shaping up. But you can see how I'm using what I have as a reference to be able to paint this, right? So let me move this up a little. So this is good. And these are the lines. So let me emphasize the lines here. And then I can go to, maybe she has like curly hair. So here, what I'm gonna do is I use like a big line brush. And then just fill in the gaps because I don't want to waste geometry here. And then you just draw the flyaways, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I do the chin, so chin. And you can also think about, oh, maybe I want like a really harsh shadow underneath the chin, but actually she's gonna be underlit, so I'm gonna wait on that for now. But we can make her backlit. So for example, for the backlit-ness, you can, let me select on all layers. You can duplicate this and make it dark, right? Let me go all the way. Something like this. Maybe I can grab tool it, make it like kind of nice. And then the top side of her head will also be dark. So what I'm gonna do is like I'm going to lift it up and make it black. So this is looking pretty good. But I'm doing like an Inktober witch, so she's not gonna fit in this, right? But I'm just gonna showing you like different types of approaches. So, you know, like if I put her here, she's gonna be not working properly. But that's that's fine for now. Okay, so this is like basically how I do my Inktober's. I usually work for volumes, and you can see that in this case I'm actually not using the lathe tool because I'm not planning to paint on top of her or like do the lighting on her, right? So let me quickly do the same thing with the lathe tool, like how I would approach it. Let me grab the pumpkin here, move it over. I'm gonna put this into the witch layer, and then I'm going to, because this should be about approaches, right? So let me just bring this opacity down. Up, I mean, and then I'm gonna colorize it, and I'm gonna do the same thing with now the lathe technique, because the question was when do you use which technique, right? So in this case, I might want to start with a lathe and create the overall shape. So here you can really like almost sculpt like in ZBrush or something, right? So,
It really does feel like sculpting.
yeah, it basically is, right? So it's you are basically sculpting. So for the ears, I would just probably use like one color here. You know, I'm not too worried about this, but I will do the eye sockets here. The nose, I might just freehand it. You see. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I like to design the nose and then put it into place and then change it after. Let me colorize it a little bit different. See what it looks like. So like this, and then she has a very pointy nose. Something like this. And I want to keep the painterliness of the painterly effects. I'm not gonna bother to make it symmetrical or anything, right? So this is the skin, and maybe the skin gets like darker on the top because she will be lit underneath, and then I want to make sure, you know, the lighting kind of works. So this is a pretty good value. And then for the hat, I can actually probably pick this hat and reuse it. Come over here, and then let me remove the lighting layers. This one is hard to select, but that's fine. So let me just make it gray. I can actually select it, I think, like this. Perfect. Okay, so let me make it one color first. And I can reuse this here. And in this case, you know, like the head will be lit from the bottom. So in this case, I'm already thinking about how I want to light it? You know, what do I have to do with this witch? And then I would probably duplicate this, but put it on an extra layer already, right? Because then I can light it up blue, right? And I can make it flicker layer. So this is like gonna be my light layer. So you have to always think about like what you're gonna do with this. But all the colorizations and stuff I usually do last, because that way I can keep the original untouched and really adjust the lighting when I get there, right? I'm just building the assets for now. Okay, let's go to the skin layer here, and then I'm going to just add the neck, and you see it's like about the same silhouette. The chin should be a little bit pointier here, so I can just quickly use the grab tool, and you can see like I get kind of the similar effect with the volume technique, right? So you don't do the line drawing here. I'm doing like an approach where I go straight to volume. So maybe here for the eyes we choose something like this, and then put it in here. And then we can go back to this layer and maybe bring, let me keep the eyes on a separate layer. Eyes. And then let me save a little quick too, and check the time. We're like 40 minutes in, so that's good. So I'm just gonna create the witch and then go to the take it to the finish line, I think. But I hope if you don't have questions, you know, I'm just gonna keep going. But if you have other questions in terms of approach, you know, let me know now, because then I can cover that more.
How would you paint hair with lighting? Like if you had a complex character with hair.
Yeah, I can definitely show that. Maybe we can take off the head of the witch to show that. Let's see. Oops. What happened? Did I lose the eye? Yeah, I lost the eye. Come back. Okay. This is pretty cool. Okay, so let me do some hair. Let me do a witch without the hat. I think that's cool. Ooh, nice. Okay, let's. She is like a witch that doesn't have a hat. So, for example, what I usually do is, you know, I definitely fill it in with something first.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I don't need to fill it in with like complicated brush strokes, and sometimes I do something like this. I bend it, you know, and then I fill it in to get like a very clean hairline, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then definitely make sure it also works on the back. And then I draw those flyaways, and the flyaways are the ones that will catch light. That way I can keep it minimal and clean. So let's say this is pretty cool. And then I'm gonna create the hair. Maybe she's something like this. And then I do
like a rapper more than a witch.
A what?
A rapper?
A rapper?
Or Medusa.
Yeah,
witch.
Medusa witch. Yeah, I actually like the messiness of her hair. So let me do.
Both have questionable fashion choices.
Yeah. So I'm just doing it with almost like one stroke right here.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Right? And then something like this.
Does using one stroke help with optimization as opposed to several mini strokes?
It helps with selection, because you can easily select something like this, you know. In terms of like optimization is more about speed, how fast you paint. So if you paint like this, the stroke is like super high res, versus if you paint like this, it's much lower res. So
It almost looks like it rewards confidence on your stroke. It almost feels like it rewards confidence on your stroke.
yeah, for sure. Okay, this is pretty cool. Okay, let's put her here, and let me like quickly shortcut her body, because you guys know how I paint bodies and stuff like that. So let me just do the minimum here, and I think I can still make it look pretty good. Maybe this arm is straight. So let me get it here, and maybe we widen the skirt a little bit, the bottom. And then the head, we need to be smaller. And then let's do this. I use the grab tool, make the influence area a little bit bigger. Whoa.
Really cool.
Alright, so
Oh.
evil. And she's putting her hand onto the pumpkin. How about that?
Oh, influencing him.
Yeah. Make the apple. It doesn't make sense, but let me give her like some witch hands here. We always need a little bit of story, right? So just make some story here. Like, okay, we have a nice hand here. Oops, the thumb looks a little bit weird. Something like this. And then just duplicate it into a new layer, and then flip it. My son. Well, she's using like the force or something. Maybe it's like hovering a little bit over. So did I use the hair layer for the body? I did. But let me separate it. Let me organize my layer structure here a little bit, because I'm like super confused now. So these are the eyes. This is the skin. Call it skin. And then we have, this is the line drawing. So let me just put this in here and put this in here, just so we don't delete it. I don't know what this is. Oh, the neck. Let me just move that in here, and then this is the body. And this is the other witch. There's still something here. Let me make sure to separate this, whatever this is. New layer, and then I put this into the line drawing. This should be okay. So let's put her here. Oops, there's still something in this layer that I want to separate. Okay, I think I got it. Let's put her here, but then hide it. This is the line witch.
Maybe she comes from another dimension.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Like, yeah, we need like a little kettle here, and then there's a whoa. Or she's like looking from the other dimension. That's actually a super abstract thing. Let's do that. It's like super weird.
Nosy that
Sure.
neighbor.
Yeah, so let's just put her into a mask. That's gonna be awesome. So, what happened? So I want to do this. Let me do this real quick.
You should probably save.
I already saved like not too long ago. Yeah, but thank you. Wow.
Oh, through the looking glass.
Yes, and then I'm just gonna cover up the rest. just like this. And then when I make the background black, you know, like it looks like she's gonna come through like a portal. Let me make sure that's looks like this, and then the line witch. Wow. We need some hands as well. So, oop. Did I do the hands for her? No. Okay, so quickly do some hands. So here, you know, like I love to do this stuff with the line tool because it's like so fast. You know, and then you have like a hand here. Wow.
Maybe she's plotting something against the other witch.
Oh, I made a mistake. I completely messed up. I might not have the undo steps for this, so let me just see what happened. Oh, I used this. You know what? Can't get it right, but let's see. Good enough. Eyeballing it. Eyeballing it. It's all good. This is just what happens live. Where's the hand? I mirrored the hand somewhere. Let me delete it again, and then duplicate, and then reset, flip, and then put it on this side. What did you say, Faith? She's like plotting something. That's what you said, right?
She's plotting something against the other witch. Like, I don't know. Maybe spying?
Maybe, yeah. Let me merge her into one layer so I can do. She's like, what? What? Wow. She's like, what is this world? This is actually pretty cool. So let me just separate the hands. And then there we have a story. And in this case, you know, I might not use transform keyframes. She might be light enough. So let me see if I can animate her. Let me see how many polygons she has. You can see it here, 121,000. That's a little bit large, so let me just optimize it, and then we look. It's 41. It's much better. Okay, so let me go to. Okay, I usually count here, so it's like she looks around. So I need like 1, 2, 3, at least 3 seconds. So let me go to 72 frames. I duplicate the layer for 72 frames, and then I'm gonna grab tool it for 3 seconds. So let me grab tool. Something like this. And see 1, 2, 3. So I need to be at 3 seconds. I have to be back at the original position, right? So I'm just gonna wait, and then it's like 1, 2, 3. That's pretty good.
Wow.
And then I'm just gonna fix the little jump here.
I hate that part.
Yeah,
Jump.
yeah, that's why you can do it with transform keyframes and then bake it. You know, it's like a little jump here. That part is a little bit tedious, but I mean, this is good enough, you know, like she's like looking, he's like, what's going on here? That's pretty good. And then this is like, good, my son. You're doing. So it's like, maybe, let me move the pumpkin over to the fire a little bit. So this.
To try to talk him into sacrificing himself.
No, he's like, make the apple. Remember? Make the apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bigger apple. Wow. Okay.
Juicy.
It's pretty good. He's pretty close to the fire. But I guess he's a pumpkin, so it's just gonna start smelling good. So I think that's fine. Maybe he's like also a little bit smoking. That would be cool. Yeah. So this is the inside of the eyes. So I'm gonna just basically make a 6-frame loop, and I'm gonna make him glow. And just tap it a few times. Boom, 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 boom. Tap it a few times, and then you might hear my controller and just tapping. And then you get like this nice little glow in the inside the pumpkin, which is really cool. And then I do the same thing for the head. So I'm gonna separate the head from the body. So I'm gonna do a transform keyframe pass on the head. So I'm just gonna make sure to select all the head. Oh, I have select all on again. Across layers, I didn't want to do this. I wanted to just select the head. Make sure I have it. Okay. And then now the head is, if I put the pivot here, I put it here. Yeah, he's popping his head. And then let me adjust the lighting. So for maybe this one will be also, oops. Maybe this one will be also on a separate layer. Let me separate these things a little quick. And then I'm gonna adjust the lighting to something more cooler. Something like this. Yeah, this is good. And then the underside will be green because it will, not green, but blue because it's like gonna be lit from the bottom. So I'm just gonna duplicate the strokes. And then I'm gonna quickly colorize it like this. Come on. Oh, I selected the whole thing. Let me do it on a new layer because I want to like let this one flicker as well. So this is the lighting layer. So I make sure it's like underlit. So move it down a little. And let's see what this looks like. This looks pretty cool, right? And then I need the head. So for the head, I like the lighting already. It kind of works. So what I'm going to do is like I'm going to, before I create new frames, I'm going to colorize him from the front just a little, just to get the general lighting down the way I want. And you can see like the lathing technique paid off to use here because you can do like this cool little lighting effect. With smooth gradients, right? You won't be able to do this without it if it wasn't lathed. So I'm just colorizing the pumpkin here. Overall, a little bit redder. Let me bring back the orange a little bit, just a tad. This is good. Okay, and then I'm going to add 6 frames. 6 frames is a good flicker. Hit play. And maybe I will colorize the chin. That's pretty good. And then where it's close, maybe I can just dodge it, torch the chin a little bit. Torch it. Wow. It's pretty cool. Oh, it's too saturated. Let me see if I can get some purple in again. I think it's too strong. let me just make it a little bit weaker.
I didn't realize my mic wasn't working. So basically, you just use pretty much every single technique to like wherever it's necessary within every piece that you do.
Absolutely. It really depends on, you know, what I like. It really depends on what I'm planning to do, and dependent on that, I will choose different techniques. Like for example, I can use like even for animation, right? For this one, I could choose like a transform keyframe approach instead of the grab tool approach. So I would put the right arm in here. Arm. So let's see. There's a pivot. So I want him to do this, right? So what I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna create a keyframe here. Right arm. Let me put the right arm into a group. So because the arm's going to loop, and it's like 1, 2, maybe 2 seconds. 2 seconds is good. So I create a sequence with a 2-second loop. I create a keyframe here. I create a keyframe in the middle. I create a keyframe at the end. The first and last frame are matching. And then I'm just going to change the center frame to something like this. Do a spline transition. And then I already have like a cool little arm movement, right? I'm going to do a similar thing for the head. But for the head, now I have the animation. Remember, I also separated this guy, the highlight. So what I can do is like I do add 6 frames and also add the highlight here. So it's like reacting to the fire. And then I want the head to move. So this is the head layer. And for the head, I might use puppeteering. So let me just create a group here. And maybe say, what? Yeah, that's good. So let's go like 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 seconds maybe. So let's go 4 seconds, create a loop here. And then I make sure that I see the timeline here, hit record, and it will be like, what? Okay, so I let go, and then, so before it reaches the endpoint, and then, oh, I forgot one thing. I have to like preserve the first keyframe, obviously. So this is like one thing you have to do. So you have to just preserve it. And before it reaches the keyframe, because this is like, I want a perfect loop for this one, right? So it's going to be like, what? And then I have the transition here, where it transitions back, and then it's a perfect loop. Right? And then to get a little bit more randomization, you can even, this is like what David Hernandez was showing, is you can nest more animation. So like I did the side view and the left and right movement of the head, and now I can do the up and down movement of the head at a different rhythm, right? So for example, I do like hit play, and then I'm like Okay, so now what's going to happen is it looks like really cool. But you see there's like stepped curves, so I'm just going to make this all linear. You have like this really organic movement, which is really nice. So his body needs some lighting as well. So remember, like the body was actually also lathed. So I can, in this case, actually should work with 6 frames. I should be able to colorize it, color dodge it like this. And there you go, you're already done.
Oh, cool.
Right? So this was like really, really fast. And then let me see where the apple is. The apple needs some lighting as well. So in this case, I can just use this layer, make it 6 frames. And then now it's like, could be hard. Actually, it's easy to follow the hand. And then let me just make the saturation a little bit weaker. And then you have this, which is cool. And then I want the hand, actually, the arm. Where's the arm? I'm just gonna rotate the arm in a little bit more and make sure it doesn't set. It's fine when it sets only 1 keyframe, but I'm gonna rotate, delete turn off the recording. I can just put it here, and the animation will be preserved. Right, and then you get like this kind of thing. So now let's go to the witch. So we're like 5 minutes over actually, but let's finish up the question that Faith had with the hair. So let's go to the hair. So this is the witch here, and we have, what is this? This group is nothing, but I can delete this. We have the body. We have the hair base layer. Where's the hair? Oh, it's together with the body. Okay, so let me select the hair here and then call it hair. I actually do the same thing to light the hair. I just duplicate the whole layer, and then move it down. Move it down ever so slightly, move it out. Oops. Just freehand it. And then I colorize it. And see what that looks like.
Cool.
So I have to move it down a little. So I get the nice intersections.
Ooh.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, cool.
So this should work.
It keeps blowing my mind how quickly you can put things together in like literally a matter of minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, ask me to do that in Maya and takes me like months or days.
It's already breaking my brain. That question.
So yeah, and then I'm just gonna make her face a little bit bluer. So and then maybe she's looking at him.
So ominous.
Yeah. I think she's like looking into the limbo right now, so it doesn't work. So we have to make sure that she's like looking at him to make it more intimidating. You don't know what she's doing. So let me put everything in here. Okay, this is the head, and then I'm gonna put the head. So this is the head loop, and this is the head.
That's how you make pumpkin spice apple.
Exactly. By using a pumpkin as a slave. Okay, so
Starbucks has a lot to answer for.
What are you gonna title this, Goro?
Help me. Like, what could it be? Like this weird witch in the background that's twitching around, you know, and then looking through the portal, and then let's come up with a title together. So
Which is jealous of colors.
oh yeah, the color. It's a colorful world. So let me get the neck out here, and then I hope I don't confuse you guys with all the clicks.
First.
Okay, so let's. Dude, good, my son.
I think it should have dimension in the title, like dimensional
I like
or
that.
something. Yeah.
Dimensional pumpkin spice.
That's good. Dimensional pumpkin spice.
Dimensional pumpkin spice recipe. Maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Or interdimensional.
Or the multiverse bakery.
It's already taken.
I like it.
The multiverse witchery.
Witchery. The multiverse.
Witchcraft. Dimensional witchcraft.
Is that Daniel?
Oh, it sounds like his
When did
voice.
when did you sneak in?
I had to do some babysitting in the morning, so
Because I was talking about the remedy, because this class is more about approaches on when you use like lathing technique, when you use like the Danielle approach, you know. And I was talking about how you also had different detail level models for certain shots, just to save some polygons. You know, if you don't see her close up, she would be like much lower res, versus when you see her close up, you would do a more detailed model, right?
Yeah.
And so I was talking a little bit about that.
Cool.
Yeah. So Daniel, would you say it should be called interdimensional witchcraft?
I think I said something like multidimensional witchcraft.
Or metaverse witchcraft.
Multiverse witchcraft. I think I said. I think that could be a cool title.
Yeah, multiverse. Yeah, I need some background elements though, but I'm just gonna finish off the witch little quick. So we have the skin layer here. So I'm always like doing a little bit of the coloring already first, before I add the animation to it. So you know, I already know that the lighting is kind of working, you know, so this is like pretty cool. Might be a little bit strong.
That looks amazing already.
Thank you. And then I think it's gonna look better when I make it dark, because this is like
Ooh.
Yeah.
like this, you know, this is pretty cool. And then now I can animate the skin. So I'm going to add 6 frames, loop it, and then I think the nose, I'm just gonna add 6 frames to the nose as well. I keep the nose separate, and then maybe I just dodge a little bit and then just tap it a few times.
Nice.
It's too saturated, so let me get a little bit more desaturated. So this is good. And then I do the same thing for the skin here.
Cool.
Yeah.
I find this so helpful, the lighting classes.
Oh yeah. Let me do one thing. I'm gonna select it all, and then I'm going to add a little bit more more blue to her overall skin tone.
I did have
Oh,
a question
too
about
much.
puppeting.
Yeah.
When you puppet, is there a way to kind of have an anchor point, or do you just grab it at like the base?
No, you mean like a pivot point that you can grab?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you were to freehand, like move it around naturally, like a head turned sideways, back and forth, would you be able to have a point where, like a pivot point?
Only with a grab tool. So with a grab tool, you would be able to. Well, it's freehand. I think I know what you mean. So basically, if you have like a stroke like this. Where is it? Yeah. So what you can do is like changing the. So you go to the transform, right? Layer transform. And then you can put the pivot here, and then you can puppeteer this. But you won't be able to free transform this, but you can create something like this. Otherwise, you can do something like, you know, to use the grab tool and you put it to full on strength, and you can grab the whole thing, right? So what you can do is to put your hand where the center, so where the center is here, where the bottom is, and then you can grab it from there and rotate it, but then it's still moving around, right? But you can do a lightsaber fighter, something like this, right? Or you can do the same with just like grabbing this and do the same, but you know, you can only move one axis at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let me finish the body a little quick. Where's the witch? The body needs some lighting too, so I'm just gonna, she's not gonna move much. So I'm going to just select all of it, duplicate it, move it forward in space, and then just add a little bit of lighting. Oops, too much. Let me put it on an extra layer, the highlight actually. So this is good. Something like this. Yeah, this looks pretty good. And then I just move it out. It's like quick and dirty. So it really depends, you know, like I would not do this. Like if I would make a short film, you know, I would be more careful about design and stuff like that, you know, but for this purpose, it's about selling an idea, right? And in this case, I don't worry too much about if it breaks or if it doesn't look like exactly the way I want, you know. So this is like pretty cool. I think the skin tone is a little bit too warm, so let me finish off the skin tone here. A little quick skin. Make it a little bit bluer. Yeah, that looks more like it. So this is good. And make it a little bit darker. Let me just multiply it a little, just a tad. It's enough. That's good. All right. So now we have this. Let's animate the ground a little bit. So the ground is also lit. Ground is lit. That joke. You know, I always do that one. It's a very teenage joke. millennial joke. But I'm just gonna duplicate like a portion of this and then create a new layer. And here again, right? Like if I animate the ground, I don't want like to animate the whole ground because that would be a waste of polygons. So I just create a patch here that I'm going to animate. So I'm gonna put the patch here, and then on the actual ground, and just push it down with the grab tool here a little bit so I level it out. And then this portion would be 6 frames. Oops, what did I do? 6 frames. 6, loop it, and then I'm gonna colorize it. Maybe you color dodge it over time. And then I have like a little flame there, which works really nicely. And then we might want to add some shadows. I just added to the background layer, I guess, because the characters are not moving. Maybe something like this. Just like this. And then let me do the same thing here. So I'm just gonna draw like a little shadow.
Cute.
Maybe it's a longer shadow because it's like a pretty low angle here. Oops. Something like this. Let's see what that looks like. I'm gonna be super rough here. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Okay, so let me... I like that the room is not like completely dark, but she's like, because I think if I make it black, you might lose the characters a little bit. I think, you know, I think it's pretty good. Let me see, let me think about this a little bit. I kind of like the gray. But I might want to add some props in the background. So yeah, let me finish off with some props and I can show you like different ways to do things. So for example, if you have like a hero item, like a barrel or something like that, right? And I'm gonna go to the background layer here, create a new layer. And then if you have a barrel and you want to create, it's a hero item that is lit by the fire, then you might wanna do something like this, you know, where you build like a segment of it, you know. Just a segment. Let me see if it works. And then you just put the pivot here and do this. Let me do this again somewhere here. And then let me do... this is pretty good. And then you can do it like this, right? So now you can also like, of course, like make it like a little bit cartoonier, and maybe you just close the lid just like this. And then if you want to put it into, you know, make it work in the environment, you just make it a little bit darker, and maybe there's like a barrel here. And then let me just select these guys and then add a little bit of lighting. Oops, I'm on multiply, something like this.
Oh, Goro, do you know, have you seen The Legend of Korra?
I know about it, but I never watched it.
Okay, so like there's this thing called harmonic convergence in the show where like these spirits come in from another world at a certain time of the year.
Yeah.
So maybe that's when the witch is able to show up in the back. Like maybe you can call it harmonic convergence in that case.
That's pretty cool because I don't know what to do with that term, so it sounds kind of cool. I like it.
I mean,
harmonic conversion.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I like it. So you see here how I can just colorize the barrel the way I want, right? I want it a little bit bluer, actually. And then I can still do the same thing where I do 6 frames here. Loop it. And then I'm just gonna Yeah. So it looks like it's like lit as well, right? So this is like one thing you can do. Let me select it all and make it a little bit darker overall because I think it's still too bright. Oops. Just, yeah, that looks better. And then I do the blue a little bit more intense here. Oops, too intense. That's pretty cool. And then the metal will reflect the fire more, so it will be more like the fire color. So that will create the illusion that it's more reflective than the wood. There we go. This is pretty cool. So now for the background barrels, I don't want this whole, I don't want it to be too dense. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna create like a, I'm on the animated layer. So I'm gonna create a new layer. And what's the time? Oh, we're almost an hour and a half. Okay, that's fine. And then I'm gonna use the thick and thin tool. Let me see if that works. And I can create the exact same barrel, right? And then instead of drawing lathing this whole thing, I'm just gonna be lazy, and then I'm just gonna put this here, just like this. And then I have a barrel, but because it looks kind of the same, in the background, it doesn't really matter, right? So I can just do something like this, go crazy, and then it will read like it's the same barrels. Right?
Cool.
So this is how you can do stuff more efficiently, right? So you don't question it no more, right? And then these are much more low res. So this way, let me get to the wall now. Now I can do the ambient occlusion here. Make it all a little bit darker. Let me turn off the wireframe here. So this will be darker. Go to a blue.
I don't know why in my mind I thought everything was so linear. I figured you did one technique and then you stuck to that for the whole piece.
No, I use every trick that is out there. This is always the way I do it. This actually looks really cool. I might actually go all the way dark on the edges, so it just kind of bleeds in. That might look really nice. So just like this, and let me turn off the grid.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. If I think it's good to know all the techniques, and then choosing where it is good to use which one, depending on the scene, and yeah, I think it's a good strategy instead of using just one way.
Yeah, it's super powerful because you can, especially if you design for mobile, you cannot avoid that type of stuff because you have to make it perform on mobile, but you don't want to sacrifice the look of it, and then that is always the key. So I'm just gonna make the whole environment a little bit more blue. Oops.
This is really starting to look like a play set or something,
I'm thinking that too.
on the stage or something,
Yeah, totally.
It's really cool.
Very theatrical lighting.
And I like how the black and white, which you could only see the impression of the window she's looking through instead of physically seeing it.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. It almost looks like there's the frame is just indicated, right? So yeah. So let me go a little bit towards
If you
screen.
were to soften the edges of the mask, would you just use the eraser?
And say that again.
If you were to soften the mask, the edges of the mask,
yeah,
would that be possible? If you use the eraser or something?
Not with the eraser. I can show you how I would do this after I have fixed this. Let me fix this a little quick. I want to make sure that this matches, and then I will do the dodge again. Okay, so let me redo this really quick. Yeah, that looks much better. Nice. Okay, I think the witch needs a little bit of before I go to that your question, let me fix the witch. She needs a little bit of a rim light here on the body because she's getting a little bit lost here. So I'm just gonna duplicate this and see if this works. It's a very trashy way to do stuff, but let me just quickly see if this works. I have a headlock, so let me see. Oops, this is too. I was on dodge. I don't want to dodge. So let me see. Just it's so aggressive. Maybe some purple. Let me see. It might look just a tad of a rim light, and then move it in. Just like this. I don't need the hands actually. So for the hands, I'm just gonna delete the hands. Let's see if this works. I'm just trying to get some. Maybe I do like a harsh moonlight or something. Let me see what that looks like. At this point, I'm just experimenting a little bit. Make it a little bit bluer, but it's blue against blue, so it might not work well. But let me see. It's not bad, but I think I make it much more subtle. And then I think the arm needs also the same rim, so I make sure to grab that arm here, move it out, and a little bit of rim light. Yeah, this is nice. Yeah, and then I'm going to grab the neck. Let me just make sure that the arcs here are working fine. Yeah, this is good. And maybe I will do the highlight here. Where did the highlight go? This one. I make it a little bit darker on the bottom. Okay. Good. All right. So to make like a soft edge for that, I would just do it like this. Let me see if this works. The thing is like let me change the background color so you can see it. If I were to erase this, right, then it would look like this. Because I used like really big strokes, you won't be able to do it, right? So then that is a problem. So in order to do this, I will probably try to do something like this, and I don't know if it's going to work. I'm just experimenting. So I'm just gonna do this. Something like this, and then duplicate it, rotate it over. Oops. Duplicate it, rotate it over like this, and then do this. Just the lathe technique. And then I will probably use the eraser tool. Yeah, and you get like a nice blurry thing here. And then you would be able to, let me see if I can do this. Let me put this on an extra layer. It's already on an extra layer, I think. That's the mask. Okay, I have the mask. So call it mask. And then I have the new mask. The new mask. I put it here. Make it black. Make it black and then move it into place here. And then hide the mask. And have like a little portal. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
So, and then you can change the background, and then it kind of has like, you don't see it because it's like black on black, you know, but if you would have a background like this, it would be like kind of like a portal like this, which is also cool. But in this case, I will just keep the hard edge, I think. But this is how you could do it.
Awesome. Thanks. Cool.
Yeah, I think, you know, what would be cool. One last thing I'm going to do is little particles in the background and also in the foreground, maybe. Particles, I covered it before, but I think it would be cool to have some particles in the line world, right? So what I'm going to do is like, I'm just going to do a short line brush stroke, optimize it to the maximum. Oops. Let me do like a one line brush stroke, optimize it. That's perfect. And then I'm going to put this in a group and then move the pivot here, and then I rotate it over from, so okay, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds, maybe 4 seconds. I'm always counting, but 4 seconds, and it moves over here. So we have, why did it disappear? Where did it go?
Maybe the menu was in the way.
I think I did it over select. Yeah, I selected it. That's why. Yeah, select doesn't work. You have to, like, of course, transform it. So I do it again. So I'm just gonna keyframe from here to there. Okay, so let's do that. From here to there. Okay, now it's working, and I want to make it linear. Something like this. This is good. And then I would add another layer, and then I will maybe add a twist to it so it rotates maybe this way. So I'm gonna select 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. Let me see where the match the out point. Keyframe, and then I will just rotate it somewhere like this. So let's see, that should just create a nice little random movement. This is good. Okay, and then I'm gonna basically create opacity keyframes, right? So with opacity keyframes, oops, I'm gonna make sure that the opacity keyframes also match beginning and end. I set a keyframe there, set a keyframe here. It comes in and it goes out just like this. So now I have like a particle movement. I covered this in the particle class more extensively, so check out my particle class if you want to learn how to do this properly. And then one thing I do is like I'm gonna loop it right here, and maybe I will loop it right here. And then I'm going to bake it. Bake. And now I have a baked particle baking. And then if I show all, you can see the trajectory. So I'm just gonna duplicate a bunch of them, and then I offset them. And to offset them perfectly, you have to trim them from the left. So what I usually do is I trim them like that by grabbing the left side, and then maybe something like this. Maybe one is like really short, and then I merge them down. And now I have like these cool particles, right? And then I duplicate this now. Maybe I rotate them a little bit like this. Maybe like this. So now it looks like this. This is pretty cool. And then I offset these guys now. And the reason why I'm offsetting them, trimming them, is because when you merge them, it maintains the offset. So if you would just offset it like this, it will think it's the same offset, so it won't be able to, you won't get a clean offset, it will just look the same. So now we have this, and we just put it behind her. So it will look like she's looking from somewhere.
Oh, cool.
So let's see. That's pretty cool. Okay, and then maybe, let me see if I can, if this would add something to it. No, it's actually more distracting. Okay, so let me save this, and at this point, I think the wedge needs to move a little bit too. So let's add a little bit movement to the wedge and then call it a day. But any questions so far? No?
Looks great though.
That did
Cool.
everything for me.
Cool. Okay, so let me do. She breathes slowly, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-second breathe. Let's do a 4-second breathe. Oops, that's an opacity keyframe. I want to do a transform keyframe here, and then here she looks up, and then all is like transform keyframed, and then the loop starts here. Okay. Too slow. Let's do a 3-second breathe. And I think she's moving her head too high up, so I want it to be subtle. So let me fix this so it's not as aggressive. Ah, that's cool. But I think what I can do is let me bring the particles in. And maybe I can select them all. Let me select them all. Oh no, I don't want to select. Yeah, and then that would be bad. Not everything, just the particles. So over the whole time frame, do that, and then I make them tiny by using the thick and thin tool.
Ooh.
Oh, they turn into like sticks.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, let me
Oh,
colorize. Yeah, but let me colorize them because I think the problem was that I optimized them to the max.
They look like the ashes from the fire.
Yep, it does. Maybe I don't know if it looks good actually. Let me see. It might not be bad to have something, but you know, maybe it's better without. Kill it. Okay, never mind. Okay, so I think this is cool. So what did you call it, Faith?
Well, which one do you like better? The
harmonic?
Yeah, harmonic convergence.
Like this?
Yeah, convergence. There you go.
I like that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it just sounds cool. So okay, so yeah, this is it. Like you know, like yeah, I showed like multiple approaches, you know, and you can do the line drawing approach, but where I still use the volumes, you know, but just to show you the wireframe, you know, like I like to like sculpt things first and then I draw the lines on top, but then I also showed you the Daniel approach a little bit where you draw first and then you add the volume, right? So whatever is more comfortable for you. If you do a short film, however, like a long format stuff like the Remedy or Multiple Bakery, I would recommend to use more a targeted approach like what Daniel showed in his stream, because that is more efficient, although this phase is also super efficient, but it might not be as versatile in terms of like changing the facial expression and stuff like that, while Daniel's technique maintains a little bit of the flexibility of being able to do some facial expressions as well. Then the Lathe tool here, I use the Lathe approach to do the lighting. If you want, you know, to let it flicker and let surfaces react to lighting and you want like a smooth gradient, that doesn't mean that you can't do that with Daniel's technique either. Like you can actually do that with his technique too, but it just takes longer to create. So if you want to do like a quick proof of concept, that's when I would use something like that, or like daily paintings that I do. I don't care too much about, you know, like how the geometry looks, as long as the end result looks good. Then it makes it easy to like open mouths like this or open eye sockets like this, you know, and then it becomes like dimensional. And you can, of course, do that all with like more detailed technique as well. But I had a time constraint today, you know, and it's more about like, hey, get it out there fast. And if you look at the performance panel, I'm still well into the greens. But for example, if I then optimize this to this degree, right? Not like not like fully optimized. And then if I look at the performance panel, I think I can still get like a lot of performance out of this if I optimize all layers. Boom, you don't see a difference. So this is undo, this is redo. You see a little bit of difference in the hair, but it's really neglectable, right? And you see it jumped from 540,000 polygons to just 340,000. And this is like well in the greens. I can totally share this to Media Studio, which I will. I will add some sound to it. And then you have a Halloween themed piece.
So excited.
Yeah, but this was super fun, and I hope this was you could take away some tricks. You know, don't get like hung up with like one single technique, because I think the power of Quill is like, you know, you can do anything with like different types of approaches. There's not one way to do things, and now I'm looking at the fire. I think the fire needs to be torched a little bit. So and that's the one last thing I do. I love torching fires with color dodge. You know, you go to like a color and then you just, and then it becomes really bright. Boom! Look at that.
Nice.
That's super fun to do. Okay, so yeah, thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.